Hey there, guys. Alright, today we are back with some more overly sarcastic productions. This time, Miscellaneous Myths, Utgard-Loki. Now, it's been a hot minute since we have watched a Norse-inspired one, so that's why I thought we'd come back to one of the Norse. Well, actually, it hasn't been that long. We had the Norse seal fight. It has been long enough. I miss the Norse mythology. They're always fun. Or perhaps probably mythologies I'd say I probably know the most about. It definitely allows me to maybe say something more. We'll see. Before we dive in, make sure you go and check out the links in the description box. I would love it if you join the Discord. Share some history memes, share some history books if you got any. Yeah, let's go ahead and dive right in.
Man, Thor is so cool, but isn't he kind of overpowered? I mean, it seems like he's never met a problem he couldn't hammer until it went away. Hasn't he ever struggled? Well, my sweet little sailor on the seas of mytho-history, the answer is no, not really. But this one time, kind of. Little bit, from a certain point of view. Our story begins with Thor and Loki traveling to visit the confusingly named Jotun king Utgard-Loki, no relation to regular Loki, for unspecified reasons, but not before a quick side trip where they grab dinner with a local peasant family. Unsurprisingly,
My lords, I'm sorry, but we have no meat for supper. Oh, not to worry.
the family's not super well equipped to feed Thor, but luckily Thor always keeps an emergency snack on his person for just such an occasion, by which I mean he slaughters one of his chariot-pulling goats for the peasants, but tells them to save the bones and wrap them in the skin overnight, since it'll let him bring the goat back to life in the morning, which kind of implies he does this a lot.
Oh no.
It's gotta be rough on the goat. They share a hearty
That is trauma-inducing for the goats.
meal, but the peasant's son, Thialfi, cracks open one of the goat bones for that tasty marrow. You know, I never saw the appeal. It's just like goop. Blood-producing goop. That feels like the ickiest part of
No! Yeah!
the animal to... Okay, never mind. Point is, the bone is broken, so the next day when Thor resurrects the goat, it's acquired a sudden limp. Thor is pretty
Oh, he angry. We're sorry, take our kids.
cranky, but as payment for the goat, the peasant offers him his children, Thialfi and Roskva, as his servants. And Thor seems to
Wow, straight to the child sacrifices? You guys are my kind of people. Loki, no!
consider this a decent trade, so he mellows out and they move on. So Thor and Loki, plus these two random kids, continue on their way, resting for the night in a weird cave-like building they find in the middle of the woods. But when the sun rises and they head outside, they find the biggest giant they've ever seen sleeping nearby.
Oh, he
This
big.
giant is named
Scrymer. Hey there, little guys.
Screamer, which they learn when he wakes up, greets them and asks them what they were doing inside his empty glove. That's a big dude. So they have breakfast together,
I got all kinds of good stuff.
and Screamer offers to carry their food for them. And when they rest for the night, he tells Thor he can take whatever food he wants from his bag. This is pretty nice of him, but somehow the bag is tied way too tightly to the point that not even Thor can open it. Thor's already pretty
Ah!
angry, so he doesn't take this very well and wallops the sleeping
Oh, shit.
Screamer in the head. Instead of the anticipated outcome, aka Screamer dying, he wakes up,
Did something fall on me?
asks if a leaf landed on his head, and goes back to sleep. That's
Snore.
already a pretty sizable blow to the ego, but to make things worse, Screamer
Kill him! Maybe you should try killing him. Ever consider that concept?
snores like a continental subduction, and Thor tries hitting him 2 more times throughout the night with just as little effect. One very sleepless
Your quest is fruitless. Bye.
night later, Screamer tells the gang they should probably turn back and abandon their journey to see Utgard-Loki, but if they're determined to visit him, they definitely shouldn't brag about their abilities, because not only is Utgard-Loki even bigger and stronger than Screamer, so are all of his Thanes, and they definitely won't be impressed. With that, Screamer leaves, and the gang continues to Utgard-Loki, because Odin didn't raise no quitter, but he definitely raised a fool or two. So the gang arrives at the fortress of Utgard-Loki, which is unsurprisingly really big to accommodate the really big giants that live there. Continuing the humiliation conga line, Thor finds the massive gate is too heavy for him to open, but on the plus side, they're comparatively small
May I present the easy way?
enough to fit between the bars, so they get in and approach the truly enormous Utgard-Loki. Utgard-Loki is
So, Thor the Thunderer, Loki the Liesmith, and I guess 2 kindergartners. How do you feel about proving yourselves? Do I? Wait.
impressed, as Screamer suggested he would be, and tells the gang that he doesn't let just anyone stay at his fortress. All his visitors need to be very exceptional in at least one way, so if they want to stay, they're gonna need to prove themselves. So Loki steps up all like, "You want exceptional? Well, No one can eat faster than me. And Utgard-Loki's like, unorthodox display of hubris, but very well. And brings out the also confusingly named Logi, not to be confused with either of the Lokis in this story, and sets up a big trough full of meat for the two of them to go at. Loki and Logi demolish the trough with terrifying efficiency and meat in the middle. But where Loki effectively ate all the meat off the bones on his side, Logi ate the meat, the bones, and the trough. Logi 1, Loki 0. So next up,
Well, sir, I'm a pretty fast runner. Challenge accepted!
Thialfi says he's the fastest runner he knows, and Utgard-Loki's like, challenge accepted, and calls up this guy, Hugi. Hugi and Thialfi race, but Hugi keeps beating him by ridiculously wide margins, though Utgard-Loki does admit Thialfi's the best runner they've had in a while. Hugi 1, Thialfi 0. Roskva, I guess, doesn't want to
Hey, you want a turn? Nope. Cool.
participate in this Hammerskaft measuring contest, so next up is Thor,
I'll drink you under the impractically huge table.
who says he'd like to participate in a contest of drinking.
Oh, is this the story with the never-ending horn?
And I like it. So Utgard-Loki pulls out a big drinking horn and tells Thor that most of his thanes can finish it in 1 drink, the rest take 2, and nobody's pathetic enough to need 3. So Thor takes the biggest swig he can manage and barely makes a dent. 2 hearty swigs later, the level's visibly lowered, but he's nowhere near finished. Thor 0, drinking horn 1. And Utgard-Loki asks if he wants to try something else instead. So Utgard-Loki's like, well, I never would have suggested this to the mighty Thor if he hadn't just proved himself to be a colossal wuss, but how would you like to try picking up my cat? So Thor tries to pick up the cute kitty, but it does that cat thing where it goes all liquid. It just stretches and stretches, so by the time Thor's got it all the way over his head, only one of its paws is off the ground. Thor 0, cat 1. So by now, Thor has had a
Maybe one more try?
really trying day. He's hungry, he's cranky, he's embarrassed, and he really wants to fight something. So for his final challenge, he asks
Give me someone to fight. Sure!
to wrestle someone. And the bad day gets worse when Utgard-Loki brings out a diminutive old lady as his sparring partner and
What a handsome young man. No!
takes a dive into terrible territory when she kicks his ass.
You should eat more, dearie. You'll stunt your growth. What is happening?
Thor 0, Grandma 1. So Utgard-Loki stops
Let him up, Ellie. He's a
the match
guest.
and offers the gang hospitality. Even though they lost every challenge, I guess their sheer protagonisty gumption impressed him, or maybe it's just regular pity. They eat, drink, party, and sleep, and the next day, Utgard-Loki escorts them outside the fortress to see them off, and privately says, look guys, I'm gonna level with you. You're never coming back here, because I seriously underestimated you, and you nearly ruined everything. So basically, Utgard-Loki is a huge prankster and powerful illusionist who just kinda wanted to screw with them by giving them impossible tasks they were guaranteed to fail at, which is a pretty classic fairy tale format. But Thor is so freaking powerful that he kept nearly killing him or destroying very important parts of the planet in his efforts to succeed. The trouble started when Screamer found them in the woods. Perhaps unsurprisingly, Screamer was Utgard-Loki in disguise, and he cast some illusions on Thor, so when he tried to hit him in the head, he was hitting nearby mountains instead, incidentally leaving huge squared-off valleys wherever he swung. Already pretty unsettling for the trickster. The ravenous Logi that managed to out-eat Loki was actually a raging wildfire, and the speedster that beat Thialfi in a foot race was the personification of thought, both obviously unbeatable in their respective fields. The drinking horn Thor failed to empty was actually connected to the ocean, which is clearly undrinkable, but through his valiant efforts to get drunk, he managed to lower the world's water level several feet. This is the first time Utgard-Loki was like, oh balls, I might be in over my head. That cat he couldn't pick up was his legendary enemy, Jormungandr the Midgard Serpent, and the fact that he managed to dislodge even one paw was very, very dangerous for the integrity of the world overall. And the old woman who beat his ass was
Entropy is the only constant in this world, but you should really take better care of your fragile corporeal shell while it's still in one piece. Soup?
old age, and the fact he managed to fight her even a little was pants-browningly freaky for old Utgard-Loki. So with that cat out of the bag,
Yeah, so that was my bad. No, shoot.
Utgard-Loki tells them to never come back because Thor is just way too OP, and if they try, he'll protect his castle with more illusions and make it totally unfindable. Thor reacts by pulling out Mjolnir to beat some catharsis out of him, at which point Utgard-Loki and the castle both vanish. And that's the story of how
Don't be like that. It was a compliment. Your power scared him off. I am so tired.
Thor had a very embarrassing long weekend full of failure and disappointment, but somehow came out of it cooler and more validated in the eyes of both himself and the world. 'Cause you had a bad day.
This song is perfect. Amateur, I've been making a fool out of Thor for years, and it has literally never come back to bite me.
You're taking one
gosh,
down. You
Hammerskaft, noun, the shaft or handle of a hammer.
sing a sad
Okay.
song just
I guess
to turn
now we
it
know
up
who would win in a conflict between an unstoppable hero archetype and an immovable trickster archetype.
around. You say
Nobody,
you
except
don't
Loki. Loki had a pretty good time. Loki got a nice hot meal and the opportunity to watch Thor
know.
lose.
You
Good
tell
day
me
for Loki
don't
overall.
lie.
Fucking
You won't get
facts.
a
And that was Miscellaneous Myths, Utgard-Loki. I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe for more. And I will see you guys in the next video. This was one of the most entertaining miscellaneous men I think we've had in a while. I really enjoyed this one. Peace.